We are 1 week away from the biggest fight of a generation in the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. First one in the four-belt era as Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk aim to become the main man in the heavyweight division. We've been dreaming about it. We've been talking about it for a long period of time. One single, one song at the top of the tree of the blue ribbon division in boxing, and we're getting it next weekend. We're going to have a little watch along for you on talkSPORT. So however you are consuming the fight, make sure you've got us on because we are going to give you an all kit and caboodle type of programme. So make sure you come and join us for that. But, and this pains me, right? Because all I want to talk about are great fights. Boxing seems to have got its act together a little bit recently. Regarding matchmaking, we're getting fights that fans want to see, in particular that one next weekend, and we're all extremely excited about it. But every single time you flick on your social media, there's some bother somewhere in there. They just can't leave us alone. Just let us enjoy our sport. Let us have a nice sport where everybody goes, how good's boxing? Isn't it great? Yeah, and then there's always this yeah, but. So recently, you may have heard me speaking about it and various other people on talkSPORT. Obviously, there's a Ryan Garcia situation going on, where Ryan Garcia, not only did he miss weight for his fight with Devin Haney, which he ended up winning, he has failed to performance-enhancing drug tests for a drug called Ostarine. Ostarine is an unnatural substance. It should not be in the body, but it's found its way into Ryan Garcia's body on two separate occasions, and he's going through a process now over in America to try and clear his name. I'll have more on that particular situation for you on Fight Night tomorrow night from 9 o'clock, so make sure you come along. Whilst we're on the topic of performance-enhancing drugs, it seems like every time I mention this young man's name on this station over the last 2 years, it's about this particular situation because it is still not sorted. I'm, of course, referring to Conor Benn. A little earlier on today, the British Boxing Board of Control put a statement out to state that his provisional suspension has now been reinstated. So for those that have not been keeping up to date with this whole story, coming up to nearly 2 years ago now, August and September of what year are we in? 2022 this is, right? So I'm going back to 2022. August and September, Conor Benn fails 2 performance-enhancing drug tests for a drug called clomiphene. And this process has now been going on for 2 years, where we've been back and forth with sanctioning bodies, being reinstated into sanctioning, into ranking systems with reasons for failing a test that the fighter doesn't even agree with himself. We've heard about a major consumption of eggs, all these ridiculous things that we've been hearing over the last couple of years. And then what we ended up getting was a provisional suspension instated by the British Boxing Board of Control and UK anti-doping, of which then was lifted and now has been reinstated off the back of an appeal. So we're back in the exact same position that we were maybe, 6 to 9 months ago regarding this scenario. And hopefully now, and this is the thing that I've been calling for all the way along, hopefully now we're going to go through a process. And the process is the fighter has failed 2 performance-enhancing drug tests. One of those tests was connected to a fight that he was scheduled to have with Chris Eubank Jr. Everybody remembers this, of October 2022. Fight never obviously went ahead. So that particular test now, with it being connected to that fight that was sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, who work alongside UK anti-doping, is now going to hopefully have a process connected to that for that fighter. The fighter now has to prove to UK anti-doping how clomiphene got into his system. Now, UK anti-doping, and this is the key thing on this particular case, and again, I'll talk about this extensively tomorrow night. UK anti-doping have a mandatory ban of 4 years for failed drug tests involving things like clomiphene. Now, the fighter, obviously, in their hearing, can go and present and say, well, I haven't done it on purpose. It might be a tainted supplement. We hear that all the time, don't we? Or I've done this, or I've eaten something, or I've done this, and this has ended. It's in his system. There's a thing called strict liability, which UK anti-doping work towards. And if Conor Benn and his team can go, obviously, to the people at UK anti-doping and British Boxing Board of Control and say, listen, this is how this has got here. It's not been done on purpose. It's been done accidentally. Then that ban will be reduced in some way, shape or form. The guess is 2 years. This is where I'm at with it. We're already at 2 years. I don't want to speculate because speculating with things like this are crazy, but we've seen tales like this with other fighters previously. There's going to be a process now. There's probably going to be some type of agreement. You're probably going to hear maybe about a backdated ban because he hasn't fought in the UK for such a long period of time. I know that when the provisional suspension was lifted, he then went ahead and fought under a different license elsewhere in the America. He won't be allowed to do that whilst this provisional suspension is back in. All I want, and I'm sure Conor Benn wants, and I'm sure every single boxing fan wants, is just a resolution, mate. I'm absolutely sick to death of talking about a situation that happened 2 years ago. Let's get it sorted. Whether he's banned for a period of time, whether it's a backdated ban, whatever it is, let's have a resolution to the situation, and then let's not ever end up in this ridiculous situation again with other fighters. Let's have a clear process. You fail a test, you go through the process, there is a penance to then be served, and then the sport can move on. Because this has just been a shadow over the sport for 2 years.
Just dragging it out.
It's been horrific.
It's not good for no one. The sport, for Conor.
Absolutely. Like I said, more on this on tomorrow night's programme from 9 o'clock. That'll be fun, won't it? Talking about performance-enhancing drugs for about half an hour with Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn and all of it. All I want to talk about, like I said, is about that big banger next week. How you feeling about next week's fight? Big heavyweight clash. Big Tyson and Alexander going at it. It's starting to ramp up now, isn't it? We're starting to see a few of the interviews and all that type of stuff.
I think after the Ngannou fight, I'm weighing to Usyk.
Right.
I think he's... I don't know. He's just such a smart, quick boxer.
Yeah.
And I think Fury is coming towards the end of his peak. I don't think he's the same Fury that we've seen over the years. I think he's slowing down a little bit. I don't think that hunger's there as what it was. And I think Usyk's just going to pipe this one. That's my take.
Listen, man, there's going to be loads of people that are on the same boat as you. I've always felt that Alexander Usyk would cause havoc for Tyson Fury. But the attitude that I've seen of Tyson Fury recently, and again, listen, everybody knows what's gone on, Tyson Fury and talkSPORT, myself in particular. I'm not close to the scenario, I'm not close to the camp. Observing externally and just watching, he's not as active on his social media. You know what I mean? He's not calling everybody a sausage every 2 minutes. He's not doing that. He's focused, isn't he? He's absolutely locked in. You're starting to see little bits of pictures of people that are working with him, and like he thinks he's lost a bit of timber there. You know what I mean? He's got himself in some serious shape. You start hearing a few things from inside the camp. The biggest respect he has paid to Alexander Usyk is how serious he has taken this.
But then you can say that for the same with Usyk. You've not heard or seen
Usyk's always
anything.
Like that. Usyk's always like that. I know what version of Usyk's turning up on Saturday night. The beautiful thing about this is that I think we're going to get the very, very best version of Tyson Fury. He is absolutely knuckled down. He knows how big the fight is. He knows what the challenge is in front of him. And he is throwing the kitchen sink at this. There's no doubt in my mind about it. My big question regarding Tyson Fury is that he's obviously changed his style, right? So the fights that we saw when he was majorly successful against Wilder, it's a different style. He's planting his feet more. He's letting them go. He's putting it on people, and he's bullying people, which is, you know, if you're 6'9", that's exactly what you do. Very contradictory to the guy that went to Dusseldorf and beat Klitschko. Fleet-footed, danced around, jabbed, was very light on his feet. Completely different type of performance. He proves that he can do it going backwards. He's also proved that he can do it going forwards. What version turns up next Saturday? Because I think if it's the version that goes forwards, that's meat and drink for Alexander Usyk. He loves that.
Yeah, well, that's what AJ did.
He wants to dance. He wants to ping you around. You know what I mean? Loads of lateral movement, and that might then become a bit frustrating for Tyson Fury. Can Tyson Fury roll back the years? Can he do what he did against Klitschko? Can he do that? Can he get Alexander Usyk to come to him? Mate, if he can, it could be an all-time great performance. It really, if he can roll it back and remind us of what he did back, I think it was 2015 that year or 2016, whatever it was. If he can go and do that, we're in for something quite special.
I think that's 8 years.
It's a long time, of course. But this is the beautiful thing about this fight. We're talking about two elite technicians. It's a chess match. I don't think you're going to get fireworks. I don't think you're going to get rock'em sock'em robots. They're not going to sit there and slug it out. They're very intelligent men, both of them, when it comes to boxing and boxing IQ. I know what version of Usyk's turning up. if the old version of Tyson Fury can turn up and he looks like he's in incredible shape, looks like he's ready to rock and roll, woo! We got a fight, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be absolutely captivating. And we're going to give you a full preview on the show tomorrow from 9 o'clock. Come and join us for it. And we've got to watch along. Loads of stuff throughout the whole course of the week. This is what we've all been waiting for. Every boxing fan's been waiting for it. Undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. First one in 25 years, mate. Crazy that we've had to wait that long. Hopefully we're crowning a new king next Saturday.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.